sidecar at those speeds.
See.
Well, just as karting is the base or school for single-seaters, sidecars also
because
have
he
their
needs to
miniature
balance
versions.
it. Do you see
They are
how
called
he's saying it so
sidecars
that
mini
it
F1
can,
and they run.
Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. You guys loved Aya and Michelle's reaction so much and I decided to bring her back into this channel. Okay, so in today's video we're going to be looking at the dangerous world of the sidecar racing. The sidecar race was actually suggested to me by Peter here on my channel. And yes guys, without further ado, let us jump right into this reaction video.
These are sidecar races, a real madness, are three-wheeled motorcycles that can reach 160 kilometers per hour in the residential streets of the Isle of Man.
This one's a three-car.
But the most curious thing is that it takes two people to drive them, one piloting and the other managing the balance of the vehicle and controlling it at that speed with walls, curves, and blind corners must be terrifying, especially for the non-driver. So today, we are going to explain the engineering and the incredible driving skill behind sidecar
balance
racing.
the weight.
This is a Formula 2 sidecar with around 130 horsepower, 350 kilogram, including the two riders and a top speed of over 260 kilometers per hour. They run on standard 4-stroke, 600 cubic centimeter motorcycle engines with racing slicks. The speed at which they go is spectacular. Sidecar racing is brutal with many different categories, from circuits such as Brands Hatch and Alton Park to the most terrifying of all, the Isle of Man Snuffle Mountain Circuit or Isle of Man Tourist Trophy. It is statistically the most dangerous race in the world, and by far the number of terrible accidents is endless, but despite this hundreds of motorcycle and sidecar riders show up every year to take on the challenge. Although we often complain that nowadays circuits are made too safe with large asphalt loopholes, the risks in the Tourist Trophy are much higher than I personally would run. A miscalculation or mechanical failure could send you off a cliff or simply burst into a brick wall. The track winds through narrow island roads for 60 km with narrow sections, and other more open or intertwined sections where riders spend several minutes practically flat out. These sidecars drive an average of 193 km per hour through these 200 curves. To put this in context, the top superbike class, which is much lighter and averages 210 km per hour, is a time attack or time trial that takes place over 15 days divided into a week of training where they take advantage of every minute and another week for the races. The riders start 10 seconds apart. So while you're racing against the clock, if you're fast you also have to make some not so easy overtakes. If you want to see images of the race, you can consult the channel 3 Willing OTRI Human, where they provide a lot of graphic material and from which we have nourished for this video. This track would already be terrifying in a car with 4 wheels, a roll cage, a driver and the ability to take left and right turns at the same kind of speed. But sidecars don't have any of those things. Before we get into a bit of jargon. The sidecar itself is called an assembly, the person on the right is called a rider, and the crazy person who gets out is called a passenger. However, from an engineering perspective, what makes these sidecars so unusual is that they are not symmetrical.
Because why would you choose to be
outside?
They have 2 wheels in line and then another one on one of the sides. When you race cars, whether in touring cars, GTs or single-seaters, you have an idea of the turning ability of the vehicle that applies to both left and right. However, these sidecars actually take right turns much faster than left turns, and that set does support the extra sidecar wheel, while on left turns it tends to want to tip over. Years ago, these assemblies used to look more like a motorcycle with a sidecar, however now they are custom racing parts with advanced aerodynamics, much improved performance. They are driven by a single rear wheel behind the rider, and are steered by the front wheel through very small handlebars. They can also outperform superbikes, thanks to huge slick tires and huge car brakes that stop all three wheels.
So they can outperform superbikes. That means they are faster than superbikes. That means they're faster than these ones that we just watched.
No, I don't think so. Are you
sure?
The
guy said that they can faster outrun superbikes. Anyway, let's know now.
But like, see the way the bikes are just vim. I haven't seen that with this yet.
Maybe it's because like they're slowing it down to explain it to us.
See. Okay.
Anyway, if you guys know, like, tell us in the comment section.
Which one is faster? Because I really doubt it.
I feel like these ones are faster than the bikes because of what the guy said. Take
because of what he
run
said.
A super bike.
inflated racing tires instead of round motorcycle tires, so they have much larger contact patches and
I
that
feel
gives
like
them
this
more
person
grip in
is
corners
just
and especially in
thinking
braking. And
he's
now
a
the
live
question you're
position at the
probably
back
all
of the
asking
car.
yourself, what about the guy in the back? Well, they are called passengers, or more informally monkeys, and the truth is that it makes a lot of sense. These guys have to be incredibly fit to withstand those speeds and G-forces.
Exactly.
Their function is to maintain the balance of the assembly. Without them, the sidecar simply would not work. It would be several minutes per lap slower on this
from
circuit.
left to right.
The so-called passengers hold on as best they can by staying out of the airflow on the straights and then hanging on both sides in the corners, which basically compensates for the imbalance of the weights in the sidecar. On the right-hand corners they climb over the rider to keep the weight and tires inside, then on the left-hand corners they hang precariously over the side of the bike, and this is the part that looks really dangerous and difficult. They often even slide with their backs on the track surface and even fall if the rider makes a mistake. Along the straight, they hide so as not to brake with the air, then appear in the braking zone to add as much air resistance as possible, and when the rider turns into the corner they have to get into position carefully but quickly so that the bike grips steadily. In cars a regressive braking is done. I'll explain it to you. Brake pressure is gently released when entering curves in order to transfer the weight as smoothly as possible. But in a sidecar, while the rider is doing the same thing, the passenger is also moving. It must be very difficult to coordinate the two perfectly. Some passengers even count seconds or remember the bumps on the track, anything to avoid having to look out and see how far it is to the next turn, which is impressive considering that the lap lasts 60 km, 37 miles. As you can imagine, if you need a huge confidence on both sides, the pilot has to trust that the passenger will be in the right place to
I was just about to say,
I was
just about to say that this thing is trust.
It's trust.
You cannot trust, like if you don't trust the person,
you can't do it.
That's the truth. So the person must be close to your heart.
It's you putting your life in
it's
another
a person's hands. Yes.
Like,
this one is more riskier. Oh my god. This guy should calculate wrongly and doesn't push his weight quickly on you to make that turn.
That's both of you going.
No. And he's the person to die first. Okay, maybe that's why he has to be accurate.
Yeah,
because
but even at that,
any mistake,
this man will fly out.
This one will fly out, but this one will die. Is it? No. Let's be honest here, like, because nothing is protecting him. Do you get?
Yeah.
So if there's any mistake, he's the one to lose.
Oh my goodness.
The other one, maybe he'll be paralyzed.
Ooh.
Or brain damage, but he will still be alive. That one is dead instantly. There is no. So except God says you should
come
leave.
back.
Yes.
Okay, let's go on.
And the passenger for his part has to trust that the pilot makes the correct estimates of line and speed. Passengers are held by specific hand grips. The main one is in the center of the bike. They are caught on this or through the faster areas as well as under braking, which means they have to be quite high up on the bike while the rider rests on the foot pegs. There are also other smaller grips around the sidecar for the cornering sections, as well as a special platform with places for the passenger to rest their foot to really hold on. It's like climbing walls at 150 mph. What also seems crazy is what the driver has to do is not like a car where the grip is more predictable and the balance of the car is quite stable. The biggest change comes when the tires wear out or the fuel is burning, and honestly both things happen slowly and predictably, but not in these vehicles. If the passenger is not exactly in the right place at the right time, the bike will not have the expected grip. So there are really two people driving these sidecars, and the most beastly thing is the huge risk taken by each rider. In fact, many of them have rituals where they hug their families every time they get on the bike for this ride, even for training. There are too many accidents, many of which are tragic, so you can imagine the nerves they have when they sit on the starting line. But as we all know, motorsports are dangerous and are practiced knowing the risks. The skill, composure, and dedication of all these pilots demands great respect. One curious thing we didn't know was how they get to race this, where they learn to hang off the side of the sidecar at those speeds. Well, just as karting is the base or school for single-seaters, sidecars also have their miniature versions. They are called Sidecars Mini F1 and they run in karting circuits. The races are great, with hard fights, and there you can clearly see how the passengers move the weight by positioning themselves on the inside of each curve and hanging off the side of the set. And that's all for today, friends. If you want, you can leave me in the comments what interests you in the world of motoring and we can talk about it.
Oh my goodness.
That was crazy, man.
That was really crazy.
Like, did you see the way the guy was bending? And that is just so that he can balance.
If he wasn't like that low, maybe
the car was already tipping. Like, did you notice that there was already a tip? And that's why he kept on going lower. That's the thing, like, if you don't calculate it before you get to that bend,
oh my my goodness.
If no matter how much you bend, the car can still tip. That's why you need to. It's a lot of calculation. No? Like you think you're calculating when you're driving. These passengers.
And do you know, like you can't even afford to make a mistake.
You can't.
What
you can't.
If, like you think you're holding the hand grip, or you're like finding. That's the end.
That's the end, though. There's no form of mistake. There's no room for error in this place. Basically any error can cost you your life,
or even a part of your body,
of your limb. Yes.
No, so this is like my first time seeing a sidecar.
It is. Oh, I thought I'd seen it all.
Oh,
but
this is
my first time. No, I normally where the only other place I've seen something like this is Batman and Robin. Guys, Batman and Robin. Apart from that, I didn't know this was a sport.
Like a legit
sport. Are you kidding me?
So
I hear we thought motorcycle racing was the worst.
Like, Pressure is literally the one at the most risk, if you'd ask me.
Yes, it
because
is.
that person has no protection.
Nothing.
Just maybe clothes that you wear or padded clothes that you wear.
I feel like shouldn't there be some sort of like a wearable airbags for these guys?
Well, maybe they are actually wearing it. Do you think they're wearing it?
I don't know. You guys tell us if you know.
Well, if you know, because this is actually new to both of us, and we actually had a nice time watching this. It's just that we're thinking, like,
very
you
far.
know,
like the Nigerians
that we are. So,
yes.
Yes, guys. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. And yes, beautiful people, we have come to the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, do not forget to give this video a fat thumbs up. And if you are not subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing to this beautiful channel. Okay, and also do not forget to click the bell just beside the subscribe button, so anytime I upload a video like this one, you definitely be the first to know. Okay, all right guys, so that's been said, I'll see y'all in my next video.